I got to introduce you to the Godfather. Well, not that Godfather, but the Godfather of church multiplication in New York City and around the world, our very own Joel Guzman. Man, this guy is incredible. He's been used by God in countless ways, and in no way do we take credit for what God is doing. See, everyone at CDN is already on a journey, but when we can partner together, when we can link together, when we have shared vision and resourcing, the movement multiplies, and we're seeing it multiply through Joel.
Amen. So Joel Guzman grew up a Free Methodist pastor's kid from Dominican Republic and spent most of his life living and working in the city that never sleeps, New York City. And God has used him in extraordinary ways to multiply churches, Free Methodist churches in New York City and actually around the country and around the world. God's hand has been on his life. But here's the thing with Joel, as time was going on, fatigue and weariness began to set in. And the last several years, especially, waiting for some breakthroughs with a building project in the Bronx and looking for revival, kind of that fatigue set in, and Joel realized he was in need of a refiring, reignition of the passion from the Lord, the Spirit of God, revival to work in and through him and the work in New York City.
And so this came in two ways. One, Joel participated in some encounter weekends, and the Lord used those simple gatherings to help awaken him to the call that has always been a part of his life. Yeah. The second thing is, Joel is participating and now a leader in College of Prayer, which leads people into deep, deep discipleship into the secret places of prayer, which multiplies the ministry. And so those things combined have served in incredible ways. Like, check out this awesome photo from one of the early encounters that Joel was a part of and hosted and co-led. And so God's just doing great stuff. So from there, more and more multiplication happened.
It's incredible. These are just some of the stories that are flowing from New York City out of these training centers in Brooklyn and in Bronx. Carlista Romero has planted 6 churches, a lot of them in Gen Z, some in a grocery store. She's on fire. Zudi Nunes said, "Yes, Lord," at a Brooklyn and then later Bronx encounter. She moved to Providence, Rhode Island and planted another Acts 12:24 church in Providence, Rhode Island. They just celebrated their 1-year anniversary. Jose Sosa and Huascar Beato, all right? These guys were sent by Joel, moved to Waterbury, Connecticut, and planted a new Acts 12:24 church in Waterbury, Connecticut, and they're thriving. You got to hear this story about a man named Cortijo. Cortijo was in the major leagues, all right? Major League Baseball, MLB, a pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. This guy has led so many people to Christ throughout his life, and right now, he's staying in Manhattan with Pastor Robert Castro of Acts 12:24, and he's leading people to Christ like crazy. They've already started 6 new cells, added a second service, and Cortijo helped start a new church in Trenton, New Jersey, which God is just working overtime. The New York City training centers and Joel have sent Edward Ventura down to Claremont, Florida, and a 3rd generation Acts 12:24 church has been born. It's incredible, and let me tell you, Joel and the New York City and training centers and Acts 12:24 churches is leading the way, giving leadership to establish training centers and new churches in Chicago, in Cleveland, throughout Florida, even in Michigan, definitely Dominican Republic, and around the world. God is at work, and best of all, people are coming to Christ in droves. This is just one of the baptism services from the New York City training centers. The Lord's on fire in Acts 12:24 in New York City.
I mean, we're blown away. It's just humbling to see what God's doing. And really, to make this video concise, we had to cut out a dozen or more stories. And we're just honored to partner with men like Joel, godly men and women who are on the front lines planting churches. And we're grateful for your partnership too. And so join us in prayer. Be a part of Launchpad Prayer. Support the work of CDN and be a visionary voice to say, let's see this movement multiply. And then make Encounter Weekends part of the rhythm of your church. It's just one of the simplest ways that you can awaken people to the call of God in their life. And we want to be together on mission, seeing churches planted in creative spaces and places in your community and around the world. In Acts 12:24 conference, it's happening, folks.
Yes.
We're seeing it day in and day out, and we're also seeing it around the world. Because you know what? Together,
We plant churches.